Hello, I'm Emma Webb and I'm here at the ARC conference, and now I'm joined by David Maddox from the Mail Express Online. Mail Express Online, that's not right, is it? Sorry, I got that wrong. Wrong paper. That's bad. Sorry about that. Hello, I'm Emma Webb and I'm here at the ARC conference. I'm joined now by David Maddox, who is the political editor of the Express Online. Thank you so much for joining us, David.
Pleasure.
Now as we are speaking, we are right at the very, very end of this 3-day long conference. What for you has been the main takeaway?
It's just the big thing for me has just been the gathering of so many big names from, around the world. So many ideas coming together. And it's nice to see really kind of small c conservatism really kind of pushing itself forward and making itself known, not being quiet anymore. I think it's always a problem with conservatives is that they're quite quiet about it. This seems to be very much kind of part of a kind of ideological fight back, and fascinating.
Are there any particular speeches that have stood out to you?
I just sat through Kemi Badenoch's question and answer, and I thought she was absolutely at the top of her game today, and it was just the kind of clarity of thinking. I don't know, it's because she felt she was amongst friends, which obviously she was, but this understanding of actually how the woke problem is actually affecting our productivity and the economy, and it's more than just an ideological fight. It's actually about the money in our pocket and things. And there was a speech before that, and I've forgotten the lady's name, but the lady from Africa who was, talking about actually the difference between opportunity here and Africa, and it's nothing to do with race. It is simply about making it easy for business to do business. And when that happens, you create jobs, you create wealth, and then you create a much better place. And actually, funnily enough, when I was listening to that, she was talking about the problems in Africa, and I was thinking, well, actually, the problems here, we've been slipping into this in Western Europe, in Britain. Actually, we haven't been focusing nearly enough on making it easy to do business, creating jobs, and we've been getting tangled up in all sorts of other issues.
It feels very much that we are at a sort of a pivotal point. It's felt that way for a very long time, but particularly now, given what's happened in the last 3 weeks or so with the protests following the massacre that happened in Israel at the beginning of October. I think there are many people who feel that we're sort of at a breaking point now, and there is a hope that people will wake up and recognise the sort of the extent of our cultural and political problems. Do you think that we are at a pivotal point now, a breaking point? And do you think that this conference that people are going to walk away from this conference sort of reinvigorated to go forward and actually make changes in whatever sector they're from?
Yeah, I do. I actually would date this back to the Brexit referendum. The initial breach in the dam, if you like, was when British voters got off their backsides and said, no, we've had enough. We're leaving the European Union. We're done with this kind of woke corporatist stitch up. And then we had the pushback, and people went quiet again. Obviously we have the Donald Trump phenomena, but somehow that was suppressed 4 years ago. And I think people now are kind of getting confidence again, and actually understanding that we need to fight. We've got a real fight on our hands, and you're absolutely right. The last 3 weeks, I think, have been amongst the most shocking weeks I've covered as a journalist. And I've been a journalist for almost 24 years now. It's been a while, but just in the sense of, I've never known a situation where a country has suffered an appalling terrorist attack, as bad as I can think of. And within days, the left has been trying to turn the narrative round to try and blame the victim. In the most egregious and shocking way, and the demonstrations we've seen on the streets, and the terms used about Israel, and the rise again inevitably of anti-Semitism. I think you're right. We are at a breaking point, and we're at a point where people who believe in small c conservatism need to stand up for what they think. We can no longer assume that this is a prevailing will, this is a prevailing way of thinking. we've got too much against us. You know, GB News, The Express, I think we both do great jobs in the pushback, but you know, we're up against the BBC and many of the other mainstream media brands which are on the other side. And let's not kid ourselves. BBC has absolutely proven that in the last couple of weeks over Israel. And we've got a fight on our hands, and we need to, you know, support these people in what they're doing.
We'll see what comes out of gatherings like this in the future.
Yeah.
Thank you, David, so much for joining us.
Pleasure.